Welcome to Ratals.com tutorials part 3 in setting up your site into an e-commerce store. In the last video, we just finished setting everything up so that we can run our variant builder and building 3,000 inventory items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the product page that we created that all of these variances are going to be attached to, these inventory items. And we're also going to go ahead and automatically set them into our store. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these now. And this is going to run through and create every single variant of all 3,000 of these for us so that we don't have to sit and do this. Now, it takes about a second per 100. So this is going to probably take about 30 seconds to run. And I'm not going to pause the video so you can see the actual time that it takes, but it's going to set everything up for us on our category and product and build all these. And if you recall, over in our inventory, we also set up the labels of color, size, length, and pattern, so it'll automatically create the titles for us. So I'm going to go ahead and hit go, and it's spinning for us now, and so it's running. And so this is creating all 3,000 inventory items, and it's going to attach them to both those places of our store and our product page. And once it's done, we'll be able to see our category and product page, and all of our filters should be fully loading as well in our category, where we can select a black and a size 3 and a length of 30. Everything should be working. So it's still spinning here for me. And I'll pull this down so you can actually see. Oh, it just finished as I pulled it down. So that didn't take very long at all. And you can see here it created 3,000 inventory items. Now, if I go back over to my all inventory here, you can see we have 3,001 items. Because remember, the first item was our template that we used, where let's just sort this, where we put these in like this, and then it says green, size 1, length 28 circle. So it built out all of our names and descriptions for these inventory items. And now if we go back up here into our content area, into our product page first, and we open our product page, and we look in here, we go to our assigned, we can see that it attached all 3,000 inventory items that it just created, and it shows us our attribute columns here because remember we attached them here in the last video, and it shows us all of our attributes of color, size, length, and pattern that are set up on this. And so it fully set up the product page, creating 3,000 inventory items in a matter of seconds. And then if we go over to category, and we look inside of our category page, and we call it store category. We go into that, and we go into the products and inventory assigned to this. We can see we have 3,000 inventory items assigned to this. And if we go to our search filters, we haven't turned those on yet. So if we go to this category page by clicking on this link here, you can see we have all 3,000 product and inventory items inside this category. But if we want our filters to display over here on the side, what we can do is we can go here into our search filters, and we're going to add them just like so. And we're going to go ahead and hit save. And now our search filters are going to be on this page when we hit refresh. Now, if you don't see your search filters here, there's one other place where this could be off. If you recall, when we set up this category display search filters, I said yes. And so if we turn them off here, they're obviously not going to display. This is where we can manage all search filters to shut it all off. And if we want to manage them at an individual, just to turn one off or adjust their order, we can do that here. So we can go in here if we wanted length to be first, hit save, and we go into our category here. Now we have length first, then color, but we'll leave it as it was. So we'll go back in here, put color back up front, save, and reload. And so you can see how quickly we can have all of our filters across all these items. Now, real fast, I'm just going to change this just a little bit so you can see how to do this. Remember, we set this up as 5 columns, and we can see 5 columns. If we go over here into our category, we can go down here and say, make it 6, and save, and you'll notice that it's going to make it 6 across. So, and if we want a list view, which means 1 across, we can go down here and say 1 across list view, hit save, and we begin to get our list view. Now, inventory description is very short. We might want a longer one on all of these. And this is where you should probably write these out to be a little bit more of like a sentence, I guess, if you will, of what the name is and what the description is. So if you ever do a list, it looks good. And so If we go back down though, and we say turn it back into a 5-column, save, and now we get back to our columns. And so now we have a layout like this. Now let's jump over to our product page by just clicking on this first item here. And now we begin to see what our product page looks like. And there are a lot of inventory items on here. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but how quickly this page actually loaded. It loaded it really fast for 3,000 inventory items to be on this page. If I go back to our category, see how fast that loaded for 3,000 items to be inside this category. And I'll go to this inventory item here, which is our green size 130 triangle. You can see it set triangle 30 size 1 green. It sets it for us, but you see how fast that loads. It is extremely fast. One of the pieces within the software that we're extremely proud of and where we've spent a lot of time to make it very valuable for anybody who uses it, because it's difficult to get these type of speeds with these type of volumes in our pages. 3,000 inventory items in one product page is huge. And same for a category having 3,000 inventory items, and it loads, it hardly even blinks. If we look at our circle up here, if I hit reload, you can see it barely even spins. And this is with our caching still turned off. We'll go into our speed test videos later, but our software is extremely fast. We have a site fully built, and now we're ready to say, let's add an item to our cart, because we did create a shipping. However, we did not create a payment method. So what we're going to do, let's create a payment method real quick. Let's go down into our settings. Actually, no, they're in our admin. Trying to remember here. So we go down our admin, and we have our payment options here. And this check by mail, while it's labeled as that, we don't have to use it as that. And in the United States of America, we have and it might be popular in other places as well, we have a really popular payment platform called Venmo. And if we wanted to, we could make this say pay by Venmo. And then we could put our Venmo instructions in here with a picture or an image of our QR code. You can put it all in here, and it'll render it all right in the cart and on the receipt that the customer gets when they get their receipt in their inbox after they place their order, saying, hey, you need to pay us before your order is going to be shipped. But in our scenario, we're just going to say check by mail. And down here, I'm going to go ahead and just put in, please send your check to, and then I'm just going to put here, I'm going to keep this really simple, this Ratals demo, and then I'm just going to say address. Okay, I'm not going to worry about putting a whole address in here. And fix that address. I'm not going to worry about putting the whole address in there. Then we'll just go down here and we'll throw a phone number in, just so we can see that if they have an issue with it, sending a check over to us, that they know how to call us. And again, this can be anything. Anytime a payment platform where you have a way for them to pay you, you can name it anything and it'll be that. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. So now we have a payment platform, at least called Check. Now, if we wanted to set authorized.net up, where customers can save multiple cards with authorized.net for quick payout the next time that they check out, which will load when they're logged in for them, we pull them from authorized.net so they can check out. It's a great feature if you're set up with authorized.net. In the future, we'll add more payment vendors in here, or gateways, but currently that's what we have. Or PayPal. If you want to set up with PayPal, you can set up PayPal and take payments through them as well. Okay. So with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and just keep this really simple. We're going to go back to our store here. We're going to go ahead and hit, let's go ahead and do orange 5, and we'll do 32 triangle. Sure. And we'll add that to our cart. So go ahead and hit add to cart. Remember, this was a store before. We never turned our cart pages and stuff back on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our pages, because we need to turn them back on. Again, this is where the software is very versatile and helping you be able to scale at any time what you want to actually do with the Ratals software. But we have to turn these back on. So we're going to go in here, and I'm going to make it show. Actually, I'm just going to make it show everything that's disabled, because for our store, we're going to want to turn everything back on. I'm going to hit search. As we get through all these disabled, they'll drop off because there's only 10 per page, and we'll get to where there's no results left. because we're saying only show stuff that's disabled. So we're going to turn everything on for our store. Here's our shopping cart where we got a 404 because it was off. And there we go. So now when we go over here, we should be able to hit refresh. And now we're able to see our shopping cart. We weren't able to see it because we had turned it off. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up and calculate our shipping and tax, or VAT. Now, we spend a lot of time right here in this area of the cart because we want to get every single customer we possibly can to turn into a customer. And so this is our abandonment cart. And so what happens is when a customer, even if you're giving free shipping away, when a customer comes in, we have them put in their information. And so we'll do support at ratalsdemo.com. Now, this is used for the username if they create an account while checking out. And if this is already used, it's going to take them over to my account and say, you need to log in because you already have an account with that email address. So we're just going to go ahead and say 123 something lane. And we'll just say city, United States. And we'll go ahead and say Utah 84101. Phone number 000-000-0000. And we'll go ahead and just say we're a residence. If you're a business, you select that. Now, you can turn this off in the accounting area as well, which I'll show you really fast. If you don't want to allow, if we go into accounting, settings, you can see here display tax exempt. If you set that to no, this will not display where people can say, I'm exempt, allow me to check out with no tax or VAT. So you can turn that off and it'll just always charge. So we're going to calculate rates. And because we set it up as free, there's no rates to calculate. So it just says free and free. We have one in our cart. So if we go back to our product page, let's throw one more item in here. Let's do a red 4, and we'll do 29, and we'll do a square. We'll do 2 of these. Add to cart. Now, if we were to go back and add an orange 532 triangle into the cart again for another, let's say 1, this is going to increment because it's already in the cart to 2. It's not going to add another, it increments. Okay, but because this is unique of red, this one was orange, it's unique, it adds another in. Now over here is where we cube out our shipping. And we cube out our shipping so that we can get an accurate quote. When we're getting quotes through an API or an EDI from a carrier, we get an actual quote. Now you'll notice we have 3 items in our cart, 2 here, 1 here, for a total of 3. And it's saying you need a package for every item in your cart. And they're only 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch, because if you remember back when we built our inventory, we made everything 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. And the reason that it's showing all 3 is because we never said, well, what's our largest box size that we will allow to cube out a box. And so it doesn't think it can cube it out to anything larger than what it is. So it's setting everything for its own package. So what we can do to fix that is we can go over into our settings. Now we need to go to our carriers, so shipping carriers. And when we go into our carriers, we go into our free shipping here. And you'll notice right here, our max box size. We didn't put anything in. So we're going to go ahead and put a max size in of 12 inches. And again, the United States of America, we use inches. So I'm going to say the box cannot be bigger than 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches, or 1 cubed foot. And then we have max box weight. So once the box gets to 100 pounds, it's going to automatically close that box and say we need to create a new box because it can't get any heavier. If it didn't get to 12 by 12 by 12 first and it gets to weight, it's going to say we need to create a new box because the weight is hit the max. Okay, and it's going to put that item in the next box so it doesn't go over. And we're going to go down here and we're going to go ahead and hit save. And once we hit save, we hit refresh. Now you notice we get all these blank lines in between it, but you can see we're getting 1 box. And the reason why we're getting the blank lines is because a carrier allows us to be able to, when we're getting a quote, send over more than 1 box at a time for a quote. So with USPS, let's go into this really quick. You can see here, if I scroll down here, max packages, UPS allows us to put up to 50 packages and a quote at a time. And then once we hit 50, we have to get a second quote for however many packages are left to get a second quote, add them together to get the full quote. Now that's obviously going to be a really large order, but for USPS, they only allow 25. So I'm just going to put 50 in here so it knows, put everything into one quote. And these lines represent every time it should have gotten a quote because we didn't give it a maximum package per quote because it thinks it can only do one. And so one package per quote. So when we hit save and we hit refresh, it cleans it up. So now this carrier of free shipping, who's really not a carrier, can now have one package of a 2 by 2 by 1 high for cubing it out for these 3 items. And the weight now is 3 pounds because they're a pound each. And there's 3 items in the package. So in the next video, we're going to proceed to checkout, and we're going to go through a payment so that you can see how to check out and see what the order looks like inside the backend and manage the order. See you in the next video.